mean, these indicators are telling us what exactly they're trying to do. Number one, we are talking about the trend lines itself on the MACD level. It's pretty much on the red zone. It's going to recover. It's actually moving upwards, all right? And just happened the entire trend line is crossed below zero level, which means that there is a possibility it will go upward. So if you can relook at what happening here in the past, so this is actually sitting on the zero line. That's a long consolidation, that's almost nothing happened. But anything that will happen, it's like this range starting from how it rallies, it's actually from the zero line goes above, right? So it goes above from here. But this is where actually we see that a big time selling pressures from the past, I would say since November, as you can see the time frame there, November until I would say March, first week of March. And now we're talking about regaining the positions of bullish moment, and these will also give a big bet for all these whales, institutional players, traders to go in at this point of time, right? So again, it's like how high it will go, right? So like I said, this is actually a little bit different from the past rally. So this is when the moment that actually it appears to be a hard market sell, so the entire market crash pretty bad, right? And then it has an immediate recovery at 3,000, close to 3,000 level. So that is the previous swing, and now we are still at the MACD red zone. We haven't get into a confirmation of a bullish cycle, and where actually we start to see MACD turns green. RSI is just still at the bottom pretty much. So we are talking about the next few months, right? We are talking about the entire month of April. This has a great potentials for Ethereum to turn pretty much bullish, right? So let's zoom in a little bit. I'll talk about a daily chart. All right, so daily chart. Like I said, these trend lines, the Bollinger Band is getting like narrow. The trend line is still showing upwards, which means it's still at ascending channels, right? And for a daily chart itself, we are talking about the MACD is just marginal above the zero line, but it doesn't show any bullish. So it's not exhausted yet, right? The exhaustion is only happened over here is because last night traders are actually trying to suppress the price to avoid this price to actually go further, which means there will be a delay of the bull momentum. So that's exactly what we see. These trends is the previous swing, and this is the current swing. Okay, so this previous swing is actually where we will determine, especially for the traders who wanting to do trades on a daily basis and weekly basis. So this is entire let me just use some indicators, right? Hang on a sec. Okay, let me just adjust the graph a little bit. Okay, so this is about February to March, as you can see the time frame, and this we assume that there will be into the April month. All right, so if you look at this previous high, $32,000, and this is where actually the previous low, okay, at $21,000. Sorry, at $2,100. But we are talking about in March month here until what we are going to happen next month. So look at these. If you are talking about yourself wanting to trade Ethereum and how it will actually envisions the price will go, that's the situation is likely to turn bearish is because the exhaustions of these RSI already at the top, okay, from the daily chart itself. So this will anytime will turn into a different, I would say, ball game over here where will turn bearish. But like I said, it's yet to comply into this bearish moment because of this trend is still showing ascending channels, right? MACD as ascending channel. Until the moment we see that this has a potential that the market is going to consolidate, which means that this will actually prolong the bull cycle. So there is a potential for these Ethereum, even Bitcoin, the same, the entire crypto market to turn downward. And this will give us the accumulation time, right? But if you can see that this previous swing and the previous top until the corrections over here, we are looking about the bottom here is actually increasing the line here, okay? So I believe that this is actually the bottom doesn't goes down to support level line, right? And this has a very great potentials. So now in coming weeks, likely to say that like I said, next week if it doesn't happen to be bullish, then this will actually go corrections. And when it go corrections, it's accumulation time. So what will be the likely support level? So this is likely the support level we're talking about 2,500 is their descending channel support, right? If it doesn't cross, that means it's maintained 2,500. That means this will create another all-time high in April or in May month, all right? So that is a great potentials for Ethereum accumulations if in the next few days, Ethereum price is going to descend, right? If it's not, that means we will miss to buy the dip. This may actually project a surprise bull. Okay, but like I said, on the daily chart, it looks exhausted. Okay, on a weekly chart itself, it looks pretty much bullish too because of these RSI and MACD at the bottom. Okay, so like I said, even daily chart, you miss this one, doesn't matter. It's just where the traders is going to prolong. Why? Because on a weekly chart, it's really much on the bottom side, and we believe that a lot of like traders, they're going to long, especially long Ethereum in trading. So they will foresee that Ethereum is going to come up in the next few months. So it's just that how long these guys are going to prolong, whether they'll just maintain in this zone, this cycle here, which means the top is at 3,200 and the bottom should be hanging around here 2004 to 2005, right? If it doesn't go down to support level, if it goes down, that means it will turn pretty much bearish, right? So let's zoom in a little bit on the 4-hour chart. Okay, so that would determine what will happen second half of today, right? So the sentiment will look how it looks like. So again, now we're at the $3,100 mark. So the channel is still ascending. It's pretty much on the bullish momentum. But like I said, the MACD, it's just starting to cross to the red zone. But like I said, there is a possibility for these price to go down because it has been hovering around at the above zero level on MACD, and it's just getting started to turn into the red zone in the MACD area. So there is a possibility that will go further from there because the RSI, it's not touching the zero line yet. Okay, it's just somewhere over here. So these actually signify the momentum is still buying in. All right, so how do we actually spot on the buying momentum? Right, so let's look at these indicators. Like I said, we use this indicator. All right, just go to trading view, crypto screeners. All right, you can actually spawn on the crypto screener. Maybe I'll just use this. One sec. All the way down, and I navigate for the crypto screeners. So you can actually do the same thing for other tokens or coins as well. Okay, so there we go. Right, so that's where actually we can have additional technical indicators to help us to spot on whether the volume is really there and the buying signal is there or not. So we look at the overview itself from all the exchange, OKX, SNDX, Coinbase, blah blah blah, all this exchange are there. So look at each of the exchange here. So it's still showing a great buy signal, great buy volumes. You are talking about, fairly speaking, 20, big numbers. We are talking about big numbers. So 27,000 is still going on over there. Right, it's live. So which means that this entire sentiment of the traders is still having a buy signal, right? Strong accumulation signal. So like I said, we follow what big guys are trying to do. They are accumulating, which means that they're showing buy signal over here. All right. So that's exactly when actually they are trying to accumulate and they wait for what's coming up in the next cycle. Exactly what actually they're projecting. There will be a potential bull coming, right? So it's a good time. If we look at all these things happen over here, all right. If you look at the sell itself, the MACD average on 43, right? That's the max go, right? And then we look at the RSI itself as well. It doesn't surpass anything like we look at the RSI stochastics over here. Average selling at 92, which is pretty much like what we have used to do. It doesn't touch 100, but they already start to sell at 90, which means we go back to the trading chart itself. What I'm trying to say over here is like if you go to like intraday trades here, it's on the hourly chart. Okay, that's an hourly chart. Just toggle 45 minutes. 45 minutes, there 45 minutes. No, it only shows 30 minutes. Okay, let's look about the 30 minutes. All right, so which means over here, that's average. So what I'm talking about, these are the RSI level. So average is actually selling at 30, 92, 91, right, at this level. So traders are starting to clock their profits over here. Okay, so this is where actually I'm talking about if you compare to these indicators over here, the screeners. So this is where actually most of the traders are selling at this RSI level. Okay, so that's how most of the traders is actually clock their profits from. Okay, so now coming back to the chart over here, now if we toggle like 30 minutes as of now in the current and the projection on the next 2-3 hours, because I'm talking about in 30 minutes chart is to project what's going to happen next 2-3 hours. Again, it's trying to recover. Again, this is the trend lines. We're actually starting to turn a neutral over here. So the next 2 hours is quite critical as well, whether the Ethereum is going to go upwards or it's going to descend. But how do we determine that? Okay, the highest possibilities will happen for the next 2 hours. Now we are talking about MACD is actually right below the zero level, right? MACD is just from the green, it's trying to touch on, it's trying to close to the zero line. RSI is really at the top, okay? So this is quite tricky because now it resumed the buying pressure from here. That's why the candle bars goes up, the price goes up. So there is the potential for these guys to go up. But like I said, let's zoom out from 1 hour. Then we know whether from 1 hour perspective, it's like how low it is. Okay, now we are talking about. So from 1 hour, I think that this is where actually the MACD is closing up to a zero line. It's trying to turn buying pressure right now. So I'm trying to justify from the indicator just now, it's this screening. All right, so the buying indicators is actually showing truly that all these traders are trying to buy, and you see that huge volume is coming in, right? So that's big buying signal still, right? That has the potential to push the price to go up in the next few hours, right? So that's the bullish pattern of that, right? So in overall, I think if we were to just recap what actually has been presented, we zoom out again. Where Ethereum will likely to be, it's quite bullish, I would say, because it's pretty much on the downside. If you look at the record of the past trading patterns, it's where actually Ethereum hit the all-time high over here. It's like $4,000. It's right at this position, and then it has the corrections over here, and you get to see that the MACD is actually turn rates, RSI flatten out. And this is the mountain curve where actually creates another all-time high at $4,800, and this is exactly the huge selling pressures, right, that happens. But now it's talking about RSI is also at the bottom. It's starting to flip up. It's starting to showing a buy strong signals to push the price even higher. But like I said, if you have additional kind of information to help you to justify, hey, what really that push them up is actually, we look at the volumes over here, right? They are only tiny volumes, which is sitting at below 5 million in terms of volume trades. Already can push the price from 2,500 to 3,100, and moreover, this swing is actually better than the previous swing, which is $3,000. And we are talking about here, it's getting to turn into bullish cycle. And if things happen to be these kind of volumes, as you can see that these are the buying signal volume that's surpassed 5 million, and these will have the potentials to push the price of Ethereum to surpass $3,800 and even $4,000, right? So that's what's the assumption of, all right? If you look at these previous low, flatten out RSI, MACD is pretty much like closing up and turning to the green, which is a bull confirmation over here happens, and this is actually bring us from 3,002 to 3,009, right? And this resume another bull over here, which is another MACD curve that's on the green zone that brings us to all-time high. Now we are talking about MACD, everything is pretty much on the zero line, below the zero line, okay? RSI, it's ready to flip up, right? And this low, it's uncomparable to the previous low, because previous low we are talking about 1,700, and this time around is pretty much sitting at this area, this zone over here, 2,500, right? So there will be possibility for Ethereum to raise another all-time high. Just to align with all these technical indicators, we feel that these indicators is showing that has a potential upside for Ethereum. And what's coming next for the Ethereum development, we all know that Ethereum is ready to inch into POS. That means they are going to switch from proof of work to proof of staking, right? So proof of stake is the new upstream of this Ethereum 2.0. And when these things is going to release, I believe that this will be aligned together with the technical analysis, which is exactly this timeline. We are talking about sometime in April, okay, which is next month. So that is why I believe that there's a lot of accumulations happening over here for traders. That's why I show you the real alerts where people are actually accumulating in exchange. It's because technical indicators tell them it's time to accumulate, right? And some development is going on and is ready to release where the entire switch to the POS for Ethereum is going to make sense to push the price even higher. So that is why I intend to showcase a little bit of Ethereum today, is because I want to put this as one of the limelight here for most of the traders out there, and to you guys as well. What is the opportunity we don't want to miss out, right? It's Ethereum, right?